Hi, this is Dhirendra. Welcome to the channel called Psychology of Minds. In this video, we will discuss about the evolution history of psychology for 1500 years, starting from 1500 years BC till say around Christian era, when with the beginning of the Christian era. I try to analyze this whole concept from the perspectives of different geographies, thinkers present or philosophers in those geographies at different point of time. So the whole story starts from the Egyptian script text called Ebers Papyrus, bought by a German philosopher or writer named George Ebers, who purchased it in 1872, and right now those scriptures are in Leipzig University in Germany. So basically we find mention of herbal medicines for different body problems, and so basically the approach was to treat diseases knowing some herbal medicines. So basically it was in contrast to the demons being responsible for mental problems and its solution. As the story moves forward, we move on to Greek thinkers like Thales, who was of the opinion that we need to use natural sciences in order to understand the phenomena and events happening around us. He was of the view that mythology should avoid it to understand and describe the events happening during those times. Please remember that Thales was born in around 500 BC. So right now if you see the journey of 1500 BC till 500 BC or 600 BC of 900 years, still not known what all developments could have happened as far as the philosophy as a point of or as a study subject is concerned. Taking forward the studies of Thales, we find various other thinkers and Greek philosophers like Hippocrates, who was born around 4th century BC. He was of the idea that our lifestyles are responsible for different diseases, and we can kind of sort or solve the problems using or observing our lifestyles which are helpful in longing our lifespan. During those times, only 200 years back or around those times only, Socrates was the one who was born, and you can understand the influence of the man from the fact that prior to him all the thinkers are described as non-Socrates thinkers or social scientists or philosophers. After that there is a different approach of looking at the world. So Socrates was of the view that we need to ask questions on everything which is happening around us. By this he thought that he will be able to reach to a right conclusion or the truth. So by asking questions he asked for answers for different hypotheses, and this way removing all those false hypotheses, bringing the truth to the closer of human mind. His contribution can be understood that there are three or many disciples who have made an impact on the way humans think even today. They are Plato and Aristotle. Plato was his disciple, Aristotle was the disciple of Plato. So basically this chain of hierarchy of thinkers has hugely impacted the way the world is seen, the way the world was studied before the Enlightenment era. You might be thinking, okay, this development of 1000 years, now we have seen Egyptian development, now we have seen Greek philosophers impacting the understanding of philosophy. Now we move on to in fact before doing that, I would like you to kind of remind that Plato was the thinker who was focused on thinking, on the process of the thinking, on the habit of thinking. Aristotle was more on the empirical evidence based, so he wanted things, natural phenomenon being described by evidences and observation. So, and he had great impact, and he had one famous disciple called Alexander, who went on to conquer the world. By the age of 30 he was dead, and he goes back to his school, and then he professes the different theories. Please also, there is also important fact to note that Socrates was the one who was given poison for his ideas and thoughts, which were against the normal understanding of the universe by the majority of people. Now on the Oriental side of philosophy, Chinese philosophers like Lao Tzu and Confucius have made great contributions for understanding mind, observing mind, and trying to analyze things happening around humans at that point of time. They were basically focused on duality concept, wherein there was a mental reality, there was a physical reality. The studies have been focused on balancing yin and yang to purify soul or mind. Also, a book called The Yellow Emperor's Classic of Internal Medicine in Chinese text mentions the brain as the nexus between wisdom and sensation. So basically they had that rough understanding about brain being the processing agent between senses and the wisdom. As we move forward, or during those times also, we find various thought scholars, writers, thinkers in Hinduism in Indian subcontinent. Here we find the idea of the self-awareness, the observation being written in Upanishads and Vedas text. Find Hindu being influenced by different philosophies. One of the philosophies being Sankhya philosophy, wherein they have mind being divided into 5 different components. The manas, which was called the lower mind. Then they have ahankara, which means the I-ness, the concept of being self or focusing on self. Then you have chitta, which is like on thought. Then buddhi, which was related to intelligence, and the last one was in fact atma, which was soul. The other concept of philosophy which hugely influenced the Indian subcontinent was Buddha and his teachings. Buddha focused on mindfulness and approach to solve problems of life using observation. And he was of the opinion that there has to be a balance between the worldly pleasures as well as the approach to reach nirvana, which was the state of reaching or dissociation from unhappiness or pain or dissatisfaction. So the whole story seems to move from the Egyptian text in 1500 called Ebers Papyrus to Greek philosophers Thales, Hippocrates, Plato, Aristotle, Socrates. Then on the Chinese side we see Lao Tzu and Confucius contributing to the understanding of psychology as a subject. Later on in the Vedic text, as in the Upanishads, we find different mentions of the jivana, the self, the atma, the awareness, all of it being mentioned. So this completes a small video on how psychology was looked from 1500 years till Christian era. In the next video we will see how the psychology moved in the medieval times and also after and during the Enlightenment till today. So that will be a journey of 2000 years in that video. Thank you for your time and attention. Have a wonderful day.